One more minute. Let me see if we get Xavier.
You see me now? Can you see me now? You hear me?
Sorry,
Yeah,
give me a minute here.
Good evening and welcome again to another episode of the Irie Myrie and Friends show. I am Colin Irie Myrie, and my co-host is unavoidably absent this evening. So, Xavier? Yeah, I was saying that my co-host is unavoidably absent today. So this evening, it is indeed a pleasure to have some of our regular guests with us to discuss some of the issues that made the news last week and to share their perspective. We have in studio with us today, he will be coming in shortly, Owen Speed, former JTA president, Anthony Fisher, journalist and contributor, Phil Holmes, friend of the show, and Xavier Newton Bryant, another friend of the show, though he hasn't been on for maybe about 2 years or so, businessman and social media blogger. Welcome all. We look forward to a candid and informative show. Please join us on the following social media platforms: Facebook X, formerly known as Twitter, and YouTube at Irie Myrie. We would also appreciate you sharing it with your friends as well. Thanks for your support. And as I said, we look forward to a very candid, interesting and informative show. We wish to note that the views expressed by our guests are their views and not necessarily those of the Irie Myrie and Friends show. PNP distances itself from Damian Crawford's GCT increase proposal. The PNP says that Senator Damian Crawford's suggestions for an increase in the general consumption tax to fund education does not represent the party's position. At 1% in GCT, it would yield 25 billion in revenue, said Senator Crawford. But the PNP said this was not a reflection of the party, but Senator Crawford looking at different ideas. Owen Speed is here. I wanted to start with him, so I'm going to start with Phil. Let me start with you, Phil. What is happening in your PNP? Are they confused? Is this saying mixed message and the head don't know what the tail is doing?
I wouldn't say that. I would say that earlier or recently, party chairman made an announcement or gave a speech, sort of a speech like, and then he clarified it by saying it was his personal position and not necessarily the party's position. You remember that?
Yes, sir.
So Damon is doing basically the same thing. Damon is expressing his own personal opinion, and the party is saying is not necessarily the party's position. I don't see the big issue.
Anthony?
You know, listen, what capacity was Mr. Crawford at the functioning? Was he at the function in the capacity of Damian Crawford or the capacity of opposition spokesman and education? And if he went to the function in the capacity of opposition spokesman and education, there's no way then after the outrage, then you're going to come and say, oh, you're giving your personal opinion. So that is foolishness. I don't buy that crap. I mean,
Anthony, I cut you.
No, I don't want to cut.
It was an interview still.
It
was an interview.
What was an interview?
It wasn't a function, it was an interview.
Damian Crawford was at a function put on by the principal. He was invited there in his official capacity as opposition spokesman and education. And when he made the comment of not being of the 1% GCT to fund education,
right,
and stuff, that was where he was. So to come and to say afterwards, oh, this was Damian's personal opinion and whatever, that is foolishness. The party right now. And I think this has become a trend where the person who the opposition leader appoint are placed in these positions, whenever they speak, then he call them up and say, hey, you can't say that or whatever and all of those things. And they have to lap their tail like dogs quickly and fall in line and whatever.
I disagree with you, Anthony, on that one.
And that's what I agree as well. He just stated his own opinion in a very factual way. You can't do that, Anthony. But say, in my opinion, I think this is what happened. You can't state it factually like that, bro.
Yeah.
You don't know if Mark called him up or you don't know if Mr. Golden called him up or not. You don't know that. The PNP gave a statement. The PNP, not Mark Golden.
It has become a trend. Julian Robinson stand up in Parliament and support the raise in salary. And then what happened?
We haven't heard this before.
A trend, and that's the point.
Where have I heard this line of reasoning before? It's a hymn sheet we're talking from, right? Because it's the same line the JLP chat out before. Nigel chat out the same line.
What I want to be done is for it to be disputed, though. And I don't listen to Nigel.
You didn't listen to the stuff.
And when I speak, and let me be clear right here, so I am wearing a shirt right now with Jamaica on my heart. And it might have the color green, but I am speaking as a Jamaican and stuff. And I am saying, based on what I have seen and observed, this has become a trend where they speak and then they are, my words, my opinion, it seems that they are being called up and said, hey, whatever and all of those stuff. Another example, Michael Phillips joined the committee for national transportation and whatever and all of those stuff. And Vaz make a comment about the party leader, what happened? And stuff. It doesn't look good. And we need to stop looking out at the eyes of party color and speak and say stuff as this is. It doesn't look good.
Who's doing that? Who's speaking to party colors? Who's doing that?
Many persons in the PNP when they try to defend these stuff, that's what they're doing, and you cannot defend the undefendable. The PNP scores another own goal. Let's call it that way. With Crawford comment and the subsequent withdrawal under the shade of personal opinion, they score another own goal.
So let me ask something, Anthony. Let me ask something. So if any of the cabinet members, current cabinet members, went out in public and made a statement that the Prime Minister says, that's not the position that I'm taking, what would you, Anthony, expect the Prime Minister to do in that situation?
If any member of the government goes to a function in the capacity of his appointment. So if he's a minister of this or whatever and make a comment under that, it stands that that is the policy perspective of the government because that's the capacity. If Andrew Holness come to the United States under the capacity of Prime Minister and make a comment, he cannot go back and say, "Oh, I wasn't speaking as Prime Minister at that point. I was just."
I didn't say Andrew Holness. I said if a member of the cabinet went and made a statement publicly, and the Prime Minister decides that that is not the position of the government, what would you expect the Prime Minister to do in that circumstances?
Ask him to withdraw the comment and said I withdraw the comment, and this is not the policy or opinion of the government.
Sounds to me like the PNP has done the exact same thing that you're recommending here.
No, but how? The how is what is it's not the PNP, it's Damien. Okay, what? Listen, Damien is. We're talking about Damien, you know. Damien Crawford here, who have potential of being leader of the party. Anything Damien do, we know exactly what he was doing from the beginning. So when he get called up and he have a fall in line, let's call it. Okay, fall in line. Argument done.
Okay, let me hear from Xavier. Xavier.
Yes, Virgin. To be frank with you, I am the first I'm hearing this topic, frankly. So I don't know what were the circumstances under which it was said and in what capacity he was acting when he said it. However, I'm thinking that there is some merit to it in the sense that if we could get that amount of money by just adding 1%, then it sounds like a good thing. And I am not quite sure why the party would beat that down, because I see Damien Crawford as an extremely brilliant fellow. As a matter of fact, I see him as a future prime minister. He's one of those persons I personally would look at. He's a very statesmanship individual and very bright boy, one of the brightest sitting in the parliament today. And so I think on the face of it, though, I would trust his judgment, even though I do not know under which circumstances. And I think the PNP, the party itself, should look at it more rather than denounce it.
Xavier, good point. Very, very good point you make right here. And this is where you and I are going to agree. Not because the JLP has been campaigning over the past a couple of years about no new taxes and whatever and all of those stuff, means that if somebody have an opinion that said, okay, yes, we know that over the past couple of budget cycles, you had said no new taxes. But however, this is what is happening in education. And because this is what is happening in education, if we should just add 1% on GCT, we could get X amount of money to do this or whatever.
Okay.
So that let me finish. Mr. Speed have a lot of time.
Yeah.
It would work. So I am saying to you, Xavier, I agree with you that not sometimes the politics of the thing need to be put aside and look at the recommendation. And that's where I support. That's where I support you. And I think Damien's position is not a bad one. You understand what I'm saying? It's not a bad one. There can be merit to it.
Hold on.
Another thing though.
Hold on there, Xavier, before I come in. I just want to remind you, do you know that there's a thing that they call education tax, right?
Yes.
And where does that money go, Anthony? May I ask? But Mr. Speed is here. He maybe can tell us more about it. What is that education tax basically used for? Is it being put to education, when we are talking about that 1% and stuff like that? But Mr. Speed, we were talking about Damien proposal of this 1% increase. Your views?
Good evening. Happy Father's Day to you all.
Thank you.
Yes,
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 cousin,
yes.
thanks. Appreciate
And
it. Same to you.
a lot of fatherly duties and motherly duties are to do in one today because wife is not so well yet. She's just recovering from an operation. And
Okay.
I'm thanking God today on Father's Day. I'm thanking God that He carried her through that because I was anxious, very anxious. But that said, happy to have made it onto the show. And as usual, I know I'm in good company, so I'm not worried. you know. Um, Truth be told, though, the education tax. Well, one is that it's a suggestion made by a citizen of the country. It's a suggestion by Damian Crawford, albeit he is the opposition spokesperson on education. And that now puts him in a little corner where he has to be mindful of the comments and the policy direction of the government vis-a-vis the policy directions that they would like to take. Because one of the things I can remember coming out of the last elections is that the the government, and just after the budget, the government was like, through Dr. Clark, they were like saying, yeah, no new taxes. And, the Jamaican people don't want to hear anything more about taxes because we're already heavily taxed. Truth be told, I don't know the comparisons worldwide and so on, but Jamaican citizens are heavily taxed. You pay PAYE, then you go to the supermarket, GCT, you're paying land tax, you're paying for motor vehicle, and every avenue that you turn, you are heavily taxed. So Jamaican people don't want to hear anything more about taxes. You ask a question about the education tax. From I have known that education tax, and it's coming from a long way back. From I have known that tax to be instituted in Jamaica, there is never anything to suggest that those funds are used for educational purposes or to improve the education sector. So I would love to see them give a breakdown. In fact, that is where I would go if I was in the position of an opposition spokesperson. I would love to see, for instance, I would look first at that to see where that money is going, to see if they could channel some of that funds into education, plow it back into education to benefit, to be of benefit to the stakeholders in education, the main stakeholders. So that's where I would go first. I wouldn't be going to any new taxes because the government is saying that all the time and almost gloating that there is no new tax. So you as the opposition now waiting to form the next government, you have to start thinking along those lines too. And if it is the best thing for us not to have any more new taxes to overburden the people or burden them anymore, then I think that's a route to go. And we look at what we are collecting so far. Because the government seems to have a lot of money doing a lot of things that, could be channeled elsewhere. That's my take.
Okay, thank you very much. I know Xavier agree with it, so I'm gonna ask you guys. Do you think that there's any need, there's a need for to be an injection of billions of dollars in funds in the education sector? And if so, where are we going to get the funds?
Can I say something here?
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
All right. First of all, despite what I said about Damian Crawford, one thing we must be quite clear is that there is enough money in the kitty right now to fund education. Because of the state of the economy and the buoyancy in the economy and the amount of interplay of taxes and revenues going into the kitty, we wouldn't really need right now any new taxes whatsoever to fund education. And I think what education needs right now is more creativity, creative ways of teaching and learning rather than an injection of funds. So basically that's it. So while in principle I support the 1% thing, I do not think it's really necessary, because right now our net international reserve is the highest it has ever been in the history of this country. And with the buoyancy of the economy, we really don't need it. We really don't need to do that 1% at this time. So what we need, as I said, is more creativity into knowing how we handle the current funds we have, and to expand on the ways in which we teach, you know?
But the ways in which we teach, that's, if I may jump in on that, since that was touched. Mr. Moderator, may I?
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Right. So yeah, we have to, yeah. So as you touch the ways in which we teach, if you have the know-how to teach, it makes a big difference. So I wouldn't say that we don't need more, we need more funding in education for sure. Because when you look at many, the what they call subvention, the amount that they give to schools per student, because that's how they do it, you know. So the size of the school helps to determine, in terms of the school population, helps to determine how much subvention they get to spend. I think there needs to be more creative thinking in terms of doing needs assessment for individual schools, rather than just going broad brush and saying we're giving all schools $150,000 for maintenance for the year. They need to look at things like that. They need to look at, and so some schools may need a lot more money depending on their needs, while other schools might not need so much. They need to also look at, and this is where we go now with more funding, because at this time, I want Jamaica to know, and I want the world to know, and we're not scandaling anybody, but I want the world to know that there are teachers, many, many teachers. In fact, they only give one trained teacher to a basic school. And a basic school could have up to 15 teachers. And the ratio is 1 to whatever the number is. Why? They can pay these teachers who are untrained less than $30,000 per month. Think about that, you know. So that is what is happening in the system. So we are starving the system of the qualified teachers, because, and this is happening from a long time back, it's not just now. So I'm not pointing any fingers at any particular government or anything like that, but the structure of what is there needs to be revamped, if you ask me, because the lower in the system you are with the kids, their levels, is the more they need expert teaching. So we need to look at the infant level of the sector right now, and look at where we can inject some more funds so that we can employ more trained teachers to start off those kids at that level. Because if they are moving from the foundation and they are strong from the foundation, you know, when they get to second grade, first grade, second grade, third grade, they will be just firing along. But it has to be said that there needs to be much more funding of the education sector. When you look at in America, and I'm there, so I know a little bit about the system. Every child in America has a Chromebook, every single one of them, a laptop to work with. Every child has the textbooks to work with. In Jamaica, when you say to the kids, and the ministry has just recently cut off the physical textbooks for grades 1 to 3 kids for integrated studies, because they are saying they are putting that now, turning those into ebooks. But guess the problem? The problem now is that we don't have internet connectivity in the schools to carry that. And they don't have the equipment, the devices to carry that. So investment needs to be done in education in Jamaica. And the more we stretch the argument, the more you see other things that are popping up that need to be funded properly.
Okay, thank you very much. Phil, we're gonna come back to this topic later, but Phil, you did have to go, right?
Eventually, yes.
Yeah, so I wanna just jump a little over to sports. All right, so because I want to hear your views on this, you know. So Leon Bailey had rejects Jamaica Copa call-up after being named as part of the Reggae Boys Jamaica Copa team. You know, he has withdrawn, stating that he is not available. Craig Buckler, the manager of Leon Bailey and the JFF, have been at odds. Share your take on this issue. And you know, Mr. Holmes, I'm going to start with you. And is it time for a shake-up at JFF?
JFF always needs a shake-up. That's a given thing, a constant thing, right?
See that?
I sat in Trinidad and Tobago in Port of Spain in Jack Warner's office having a drink. And he explained to me things that the JFF need to be doing, which they weren't doing. So shake up there needed from captain's days. As far as Leon Patrick Bailey, his full name. I mean, that's done. Every year I scratch my head. Leon Patrick Bailey. Anyway, the issue with him seems to be an issue with his manager and JFF. His manager and Kasafa. His manager and Speed. And it seems to be more personal than anything else. So they need to fix their issues. I'm a bit confused as to whether the JFF had officially invited him based on what happened the last time. So did the JFF go ahead and invite him knowing that there was no change in the whatever happened then and now? So that's kind of strange. The JFF would invite him knowing that the last time this happened, they said they wouldn't call him back until such time. So the JFF need to sit down and figure out what are we doing? If Bailey does not want to play for the national team, then that's fine. Let him go. And the next time he's called up, it has to be when he approaches the JFF and says, look, I'm ready to play again. I don't think that Bailey is such a great asset to the national team. If you look at the stats, Bailey has played, I think, 30 games for the national team. What is his goal rate, his goal tally? 4 or 5, I think. If you look at someone like Mario Gray, who's played way less games than Bailey for Jamaica, he has the same amount of goals. So, but Craig will need his ego to be caressed. Craig is somebody I've known for the longest while. Craig played for Medieval. I managed Medieval Sid Bartlett team. He played for Medieval minor league and for Sid Bartlett. I played ball up on Mona on a Sunday with Craig. So I know Craig very well. Right? Craig needs his ego to be caressed. He thinks he's right. He knows his way or the highway. So Craig go sit on one side because playing for the national team should be a honor and a privilege. Shouldn't be no demands, and you can't compare Aston Villa. Look, the Mario Gray has won the Premier League. Think about that. Billy has not won anything. Right? Mikel Antonio. They're in England, you're not hearing them screaming and complaining. So Bailey was caught red-handed, and as a result of being caught breaking the rules, this fallout happened. So Craig needs to go sit down, and Jeff needs to decide and stand up and say, look, go sit aside. We will call you, or we will approach you when we need you, or we see it fit. What Craig really needs to do is to go get Phoenix Academy registered as a club. Not an academy, but a club, and enter the competition. And so a major issue would be fixed. But the issue between Bailey and JFF is basically Craig Butler and the JFF. That's my take on it.
Okay, let me ask you a question. You talk about where he hasn't scored much goals for Jamaica, you know, and such like that. Is it that the caliber of players that he plays with? I mean, I think he plays for Aston Villa. I'm not too much on the sports.
Yeah, he does play for Aston Villa.
So whereby these players coordinate certain way where he have a better finish, so he can score goals, or he can capitalize on those.
But his teammate Mario Gray plays for the same team.
Do you think that he gets that chances in Jamaica? I mean,
but my argument is the Mario Gray plays in the same team as he does. So same supply, same players, same standards, same facilities, same surface, everything. But the Mario has a better ratio of scoring than he does.
Okay.
Can
Yes, sir.
Can I, Colin?
Yeah, go ahead, Anthony.
All right. So what I agree with a lot of what Phil said. However, I am not going to put too much on the amount of goals that he had scored for Jamaica. Because again, football is a sport, so you might score 5 goals, but you assist in 10 and stuff, which is not really what everybody sees. However, I agree with Phil 100%. And again, this comes back to my previous point earlier, that sometimes we need to be patriotic. You need to be patriotic. And you're a Jamaican, you're representing your country, and you do that with your heart and stuff. Many before did that. Let me use teachers as an example, Mr. Speed. Nobody can ever pay teachers, nowhere in the world. Nowhere in the world teachers can be properly paid and stuff. I mean, today's Father's Day, and as I reflect, I mean, the person who made me who I am today, who is my hero, is a teacher at a all-age school, way in rural Hanover, named Hill Brooks, and stuff. I mean, when nobody else believed in me, he did and stuff. And back in those days, what they were getting, nothing at all in terms of pay and stuff. And remember, I remember him have a whole escort where many times I got a meeting at Kingston and I push it feet start and stuff. But that did not change the dedication that was that he put into what he is. He was patriotic to the cause. So I'm saying these guys who got blessed with that talent and stuff, and they have an opportunity to represent their country, to fly the flag of Jamaica. And they are going to say, oh, because I am here, I will not play on whatever our with Butler putting his personal issues and trying to use it to manipulate the JFF and all of those stuff. What the JFF need to do in Leon Bailey's position, and I agree with you, Phil, was say, listen, Leon, yes, you are talented and whatever. All right, continue to play your trade wherever you are. Whenever you find it in your heart and see the necessity that patriotism to your country or commitment to your country is above personal issues, you can come talk to me. We not come talk to you again. So you close the door on yourself. All right. So go and do your thing and stuff. And move on. You understand what I'm saying? Because if he was injured or whatever, we would still have a team. We'll still be playing, whatever. And thing. And I'm sure their talent is going to rise that might even be better than a Leon Bailey or whatever and all of those stuff. And thing. One of the things that worked in 1998 campaign, you know, was that as talented as Walter Boyd was, and we all love Walter Boyd, Rene Simones was very, very far in terms of what he wanted. And I mean, we know all the uproar that go on when time Walter Boyd was dropped and all of those stuff and all and them things. But guess what? At the end of the day, he had to abide by the rules. And Leon Bailey is no different and stuff. So that's my comment on that one.
Colin, I want to add one other thing.
Yep. Go ahead.
If you notice, when Dujan Whisper Richards was going to sign a contract with Chelsea, he needed to get international clearance or work permit from England. The work permit from England requires that you play a certain number of games for the national team. Out of KC, Jamaica gave Dujan games. So it worked for Craig. Then you didn't hear him complaining. But now you hear him complaining. So when it works for him, it's fine. JFF give Carl Whisper in games, I beat him score. That worked perfectly for him to set up. You don't hear this, you didn't hear any complaints. It can't be like that. We have to give up for country. And that is simple as it is. It's a privilege to play. Most people live in Jamaica, Jamaicans, and there's the small number of persons who have actually put on the jersey and say, I play for Jamaica. That should be done with pride, man.
Okay. Okay. Xavier, your views?
I'm not a cricket fan or a football fan. I know absolutely nothing about those topics.
All right, no problem. Mr.
Play,
no
I'm not a fan and I know very little about what's happening. I only watch sports when Usain Bolt are in and over Shelley and Fraser when a top notches are running at the world championships or Olympics. That's all.
Okay, so what do you have to say about Elaine pulling up last week?
Yeah, she'll be back. If she just need to take her rest and just take as much rest, get her therapy, and come back. She's not done. She's far away from that. So I look forward to seeing her back on the track in maybe another 3-4 months.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Speed.
Yes, in terms of the case is now with Leon and Mr. Butler and the JFF. It's more of a personal issue than anything else. And I would encourage Leon, as I made a post this morning, to wish Craig Butler happy Father's Day today. And then by tomorrow morning, change him as agent. I think Mr. Butler as an agent is poor. Is poor because he's on what we would call an all or none. Either him get all or him get none. That kind of negotiation is for like way back then in the slave master's time. It's not for now. So you have to learn that word that we call compromise. And you dig out a deal, but sometimes you have to get one foot in to get the other thing that you need. Mr. Butler has to learn that part of the whole negotiation thing. And everything has to be contextualized. I think you have to look at his performances. And I agree with our speaker here, I can't remember his name, Phil, that you have to look at his performances and then you have to match that against the other people who are there. And if they are performing as local players and are not demanding so much from the JFF as well, you have to look at all of those things. Leon Bailey played exactly 30 games for Jamaica. He's playing over a 5-year period now. He's averaging 1 goal per year. That is what he's averaging, And we're not saying that every year we play a lot of games and so on, but he played 30 games. He's averaging 1 goal per year for the national team. That is what it is. We can't go around that. Nobody can say you're telling untruth on this man. That is what he has there. I can't see any of the local forwards, winger or not, doing much worse than that. So in those contexts, I would think that Leon and Craig should come humbly. And we're not saying he should be dropped or anything. I believe he's a quality player. And we can find all the excuses we want to find in the world to say why he cannot perform for Jamaica. And one of those things that we could also say and speculate is that maybe he's not putting out that same amount of effort. We have seen where he got into trouble with the JFF before. So all of these things have to be contextualized. And Mr. Butler has to understand that he cannot continue to be this manipulator that is portraying himself to be at this time. Because Mr. Butler wanted to become the president of the JFF at one time. Would he as president be yielding to all of these demands from any single player outside of his son? You follow what I'm saying? So these are some things that we have to really talk about. We have to look at why is it that he has such a serious problem with Cavaliers getting some players into the national setup. When Cavalier, contrary to what some people believe, Cavalier is using teenagers, a lot of teenagers, playing Premier League and winning the title. If you win the title, you must get more pick, you must get more selections to the national setup. That's a Premier League, almost Premier League setup. And Butler is trying to compare his Phoenix Academy with the Premier League kind of a setup. And you cannot do that. So Mr. Butler has to look back into himself, and he has to learn that he will have to guide the youngster. Today is Father's Day. He will have to separate being a father from being an agent. And I think that is where he's not drawing the line.
Okay, thank you very much. Clearly, anything more?
Yeah, no. I want to thank you for inviting me. I'm rather enjoying the discussion, but unfortunately, it's Father's Day and there's a function going on, which I have to be at. But you should invite me forward. We can talk more about the politics of the politics. You understand?
Definitely.
All right. Respect
Yeah.
and happy Papa Day and Grandpapa Day today. I see.
Before
Okay,
you go,
respect,
before you go,
Yes,
you are you in are you attached to any Premier League team or any team like that?
No, I'm actually self-imposed exile away from Jamaica. So
No,
But,
no,
but,
when you
but I served Onyx Gardens on their
okay,
management.
okay, good. Okay.
All right.
Jungle is fair.
You're jungle for life. Yeah.
No, I see.
I said,
I say no more.
All right. Blessings. TikTok.
All right.
All right. Cool.
Okay. All right. I know Xavier would have liked this one, and I don't know where I'm gone, but hopefully he will come back. So I'm gonna jump to another topic. Court listing shows that case is up to late 2026. The Court of Appeal here in the Vibes Cartel case has revealed that the Supreme Court's diary has case scheduled by the jury, stretching as far as 2026. Justice McDonald also noted that within the past 6 years, 2 cases were sent back to the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court for a retrial and has not been given a date for the proceedings to begin. Is this a waste of time and resources, in your opinion, to send this matter for a retrial? Let me start with Anthony. You're muted.
I have mixed feelings, and I'm going to be very frank with you. I have mixed feelings about this case. So I'm going to start from the angle of that there should be no cost, place, and justice. All right, I start on that because regardless of who or whatever, and regardless of who the other party was in the case, in this instance, Clive Williams, a crime was committed, a life was taken, and stuff, and we know the technicality that the UK sent back the case to the Jamaican Court of Appeal because of everything that was happened with the jury. However, that said, that I think that the family of the deceased should get closure, whether a retrial would bring justice is something that is up in the air because of the status of these people and the amount of coverage both from the media and whatever that the case had gotten in the previous trial and stuff. So that's why I have mixed feelings to it. The other question is that would it worth it in terms of monetary value? I really cannot answer that because, as I said, there should not be a price on justice. If a crime is committed, whatever it costs to solve the crime, I think that it should solve one way or the other. And if somebody is guilty, then they pay the price. If you're not guilty, then you free them. That's my view on that. Colin, you are muted.
Sir Speed?
Yeah, well, I agree with you, Anthony. If people must get their fair chance to prove themselves, whether innocent or guilty. If I am high on from my background in education and the fact that I ascended to be a union leader for the Jamaica Teachers Association, I am high on procedure. And if you breach the procedures and the fault is yours from the side of the judicial system, if the fault is yours to breach the procedures, I don't have any problem with it going back and they're having a second look at it, and if it means a retrial and a full retrial. My challenge though is going to be that so many things have changed since then, and whether or not you will have the evidence and whether the evidence will still be credible and be able to stand up to any scrutiny. I am not too sure. So, but it can't be a waste of money, certainly. I tend to look at it the next way. It's a spend rather than a waste. And people really don't waste time when it comes to things like these because you're more spending time to ensure that everything, went through the process or goes through the process. And that is the most important thing to me.
But given the amount of money that the Privy Council has ordered, that the government pay the attorneys for the men, is it a wise idea, to really pursue the justice at any cost? Anthony, we hear you talk about that, but is it wise? I mean, $100 million.
But you have to pay for your mistakes sometimes, and that's how life is. I've known of other similar instances where people were fired, like teachers, and I'm telling you from my background experience that teachers were fired, and the teachers were fired and they stayed out of the system for 3 years before the appeal came through. When the appeal came through, they won the case after sitting out for 3 years and suffering themselves and their families, suffering for 3 years, no pay. And the court now, or the appeals tribunal, once the person is reinstated, then the money just have to be paid. The back money, all of it has to be paid. So it's just a simple principle that I'm looking at. And to say that we have to try to uphold the law and if the procedures that are set out in law are to guide whatever constitution that is there, then we have to hold people accountable. And if it means that they have to pay out of their pockets because there was a fold-up which was caused by them, then they should pay.
Yes, Colin, let me tell you where I struggle with this is that we know, or based on what we heard came out of the court where the bribery of the jury was concerned and all of that, and this jury was found guilty for that crime and stuff. So I am saying that based on that, and yes, the judge might err in his judgment in terms of not stopping the case at that point in time and get a new jury panel. But if persons can go as far as bribing a jury and then to be released free on that technicality afterwards, I think it's unfair to the system, and it's unfair to well-thinking citizens of the country and stuff. So yes, I understand that it might be costly to do a retrial, but at the end of the day, the question I'm asking, what precedent are we setting here? Can person commit crime and then use other avenues or means, as in this particular case, to get off in that way and walk? It shouldn't be. It should not be. I mean, if a crime is committed, listen, if we have a retrial and they are found not guilty, then so be it and stuff. But we cannot ignore all the evidence that was presented before and whatever and all of those stuff and said, oh, because of the world boss or whatever and all of that. What examples are we setting for children and stuff? What are we doing there? I mean, it doesn't look good and stuff. And yes, it might be costly. Yes, the crown might have it harder in terms of finding all of these witnesses to come back. Are they willing to even come back and all of those stuff? There's a lot of technical issues, technicality here. But I am not comfortable. And I said I'm not comfortable with they just being freed because they were the judge did not get a new panel of juror when this incident happened and stuff. That should not be the situation for me. And that's why I said I struggle with this one.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know if I am not comfortable with him just being freed, but I'm not comfortable with him being locked up for this period of time, longer period of time, without really getting a fair chance to defend himself. So on both sides, I'm arguing on both sides to say, all right, fine, he's locked up, he's there for quite some time now. There was a fold up in the case, especially with the bribing of the juror and so on. And then we are going to see now that maybe some witnesses disappear or whichever term you want to use. I am struggling to, Anthony, just like you, but I would want fairness to prevail. And I'm not sure if it is fair to even try him all the way over, because it would seem as if it is two-way. You're trying a man twice for the same offense. I'm kind of confused with it, and I'm baffling to come up with the right kind of words. But at the same time, it doesn't matter to me how much money that is going to be spent, as long as fairness prevails. And it could be 100 million, it could be 200. If the fault is from the side of the judicial system, then the government employs them. And when I say government, I'm not talking about JLP or PNP, I'm just saying the government. So if they fold up as agents of the government, then you know who has to pay. And for me, it doesn't matter how much money it costs. And I don't see it as a waste to spend it just to make sure that fairness prevails in the end. Whether it's free or not.
Thank you. I'm just gonna throw this question in there, before Xavier comes in. Based on Vybz Kartel health issues right now, I mean, you hear the lawyer say that his heart is functioning at like 50% and stuff like that. Do you think they could release him on that base? Or do you think not really Vybz Kartel, but other prisoners that has health issues,
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad.
Other prisoners that have health issues, you see what I mean, should be released, based on humanitarian grounds and stuff like that.
For Kartel, then you see the problem you're going to find yourself in. You're going to find yourself now coming up with a situation where everybody is going to want that, and the way we know our system is, people get all sorts of medical evidence by whatever means that they want to get them. And that will pose a serious challenge for the system to work too. Believe me.
Okay, thank you. Xavier, your views?
Well, boy, me know you sometimes you go on my YouTube channel, so you know exactly where me stand on this, but let me say this.
Yeah, other people may not know,
exactly where he is.
I don't know.
Kartel does not need to come out a road for the rest of his life. I personally think that the bribing of the jury proves that this man is guilty. because it wasn't the prosecution who was going to bribe the jury. And if we notice that when the Privy Council gave their ruling, they say it was jury misconduct. Jury misconduct, that was the term that they used when they're quashing the conviction and send it back. Because if they had said jury bribery, it would have pointed towards the defense, and then the defense could say the Privy Council discriminated against them because they know how it would look. So they said jury misconduct. That means it can't be construed that it was this side or that side. But after looking at all the evidence, the Privy Council knows them guilty. That's why it sent it back and said, we not telling you to go try him again, But if you know what to do, because you have everything, I don't know exactly what happened. So I put it back in your hands. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this time around, trying them is going to be even easier. Because remember, the prosecution can use back every single piece of evidence that they had used before. And even if anybody didn't turn up, dies, because I hear that recently the person who did the handwriting analysis for the defense has died. And there were other witnesses who might not be able to come back into court. Having said that, under the precedents that had been set, every one of those statements will be admissible in evidence, even if the person can't come up to be cross-examined. Therefore, it is clear that the defense is going to have to find new contravening evidence overwhelmingly to overturn the previous decision, or is the previous decision going to come back the same? And remember that this time around, the prosecution's case will be 10,000 times easier, because all they have to do is to put back all the evidence they had gathered back on the table. It is the defense who is going to find new things to convince a jury that everything the prosecution have not valid. Because if they come back with the same old things, it never worked the first time, it now go work again. So there it is. And I want to point this out too. The reason why the habeas corpus, because there are cases where habeas corpus works, even a situation where a person is held for trial or for retrial. But the government feel it as such an overwhelmingly strong case that they know it's pointless we send him out, because we know we have him banked right. You see, if the government thought they had a weak case, they would have let him out. If they thought there was any possibility of him going free, they would have released him on that habeas corpus, because there is such a precedence under the law. But them know say there is no chance of them put him out of your carry back and still I go try him anyway. Make him go and wet him foot and steer. So that was a sounding board to see how the prosecution was thinking. And the fact that they didn't let him out then, even regardless of his so-called illnesses, probably how they were thinking. And they went into, and between the course of last week Monday and last week Friday, the prosecution did say all of that, say, we do not care how much money it takes to retry him, because money has no precedence over justice. So whatever it takes, we are prepared to go through it again. And when the defense said, but the 2025 book out, 2026 book out, so is the earliest him can get is 2027. And remember that there are cases, 2 other cases similar to this, that have been referred back from the Privy Council to be tried, and in 6 years they have not even set a date for those. In 6 years. So Cartel would possibly be looking at another 8 years before Finn's case even come for trial again. The prosecution then turned around to them and said, all right, look, here is what we'll do. We are willing to take off one of the scheduled cases off our books for 2025. and put him on just to get it out of the way. So when the prosecution went that far as to say we are willing to take out a scheduled case and slot him in for another 3 months or 6 months if it comes to that, just to the, you can see the prosecution serious. They are serious. And thanks be to God, I hope they are that serious and them not just put on a show, because if it turn him there.
But you said with the retrial, I just want to know, you said that all of the evidence that the prosecution had before will be readmitted. You 100% sure?
Come again. Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, you said that all of the evidence that the prosecutors have before, we will be readmitted, them can use it.
Yes, yes.
So I mean, so I was just, wondering if that's
Yeah, man, they can reuse everything. They're just gonna put back everything on the table so that they don't have no work to do. They don't have no work to do, but then just represent. And if they had done it before and won, and it goes to the local court of appeal, and they won, and they go over to the Privy Council, and Privy Council couldn't find anything to throw out the case within the entire process, apart from the jury tampering, whatever. It shows that the prosecution, they know
but it's planned out. If I'm not lying, I think the judge asked the prosecutor sometime last week if he would be able to get all those witnesses.
If they're able to get what?
The witnesses that were there, if he would be here to get them. So I am if he can't get them, more than likely cartel would be free soon if he can't get them, because it would make no sense.
Well,
as you said that they will have all those evidence from long time. They can't get the witness to come back out. I do not believe that there will be a retrial.
They did say they can get them, but we don't know if in another 2-3 years they will still all be on board. But anyway, keep him in for as long as possible, and we see how we go down the road. But man, let me tell you, cartel is a sociopath. Him can't stop kill. And I don't think if he come tomorrow morning, he might stop kill. That man, they can't stop send people to dead. We just think him is a psycho. And therefore, if you just stay with him there. Oh, but by the way, perhaps you guys wonder why I'm out the door. Oh, let me tell you, I left my key inside. My wife is at work. I never realized, say, me never have my key. And I'm coming back, and so I'm just waiting for her to get here. She should be here from 7 o'clock, but anytime now. So we can go in. So I'm just outside using the Wi-Fi. I wait till she come in.
Any more thoughts, Mr. Fisher?
Yeah. So basically, we didn't know. I think it's time for a retrial, because the prosecution never gonna have such a strong case and just release a man. So with having such a extremely, it's a slam case. So we can't see the prosecution giving up. You answer me? In a case like this, it's not touch and go, it's a slam dunk. And the prosecution know them have this in the bag already. You understand me? So me know them will go back for a retrial. And from me hear them say money no matter. Money no matter. They have said that. Prosecution said that last week. We don't care how much it costs. We're willing to do it again.
Okay.
So I don't see how I don't see it's going any other way. And if they stick they had a weak case, they would have given in. Because the prosecution, them look over all documents and say, shit, we don't think we can really do this. We don't think we can do it, We not bother waste the government money. Them just give in. But not in this case. They know them having bank to rights,
All right. Okay, thank you so much. Listen, I'm going to jump back into
prosecution will never give in. One thing though, I hear you say when you look at the fact that the Privy Council sent it back to Jamaica, it doesn't mean that I don't agree that it means that the Privy Council is saying that, well, the man is guilty. I don't believe that. I think the Privy Council might be looking at more at procedural breaches that they probably think never mattered a whole lot in the case, but it mattered still. So they wanted to make sure that if the judicial system here wants to go to a retrial, they give them that option. So as I said before, we need to look at our judicial system. It's in a serious conundrum in many instances, and you talk about the number of years that you have to wait to line up to wait to get cases heard and all of that. That's a problem with our system. And however we can work together, and I'm talking about the two political parties, to brainstorm and to come up with ideas as to how we can get the cases go through the system more quickly, more rapidly. I think we will be in a better position as a nation because justice will be served in good time in many instances. And I would really love to see our judicial system step up to the plate and become more efficient. All right. So that's all I have to say to close that off.
Okay. Cool. Fair enough.
What do you want to say?
Just to touch on Mr. Cartel, one of my problem with this very, very talented gentleman is that he has chosen to waste that talent. I mean, I wish I had a quarter of what he had and stuff and all of that. And as Xavier rightly said, that everybody is talking about the mistake that the judge made, but I'm not hearing anybody speaking about why the jury was bribed in the first place and who bribed the jury and all of those things. And because I think that in itself should be a technicality where a mistrial should not even be granted. I mean, if my personal opinion on this, the Privy Council was trying their best to ensure that Jamaica stay under their system or with their former as being the head of our judicial system, and this was a good case for them, and so they with a popular person, so they threw it back. This is me speaking now personally and stuff. But at the end of the day, as I said, and I think that whatever the cost, justice must be served. That's it for me.
Before you run on, I want to interject where that is concerned. I don't, quite frankly, I don't believe that certain things follow certain actions. I don't believe, for instance, that because the jury was bribed, it means that Cartel himself personally knew that the jury would have been bribed. I don't think so. Because a record producer could him could take it upon himself.
That's what I agree with you on that one.
Yeah, a record producer who sees an interest in Cartel being free could take it onto himself and say, Cartel, you stay out of this. Me going to deal with this, and me going to pay some money to make sure that you come out of this place. And Cartel don't even know about that. So I am not saying Cartel, as a defense himself, bribe the jury. I can't come to that conclusion. Believe me.
All right, thank you very much. I'm moving on now, right? So PNP Julian Robinson reveals he's a dual citizen, recently. He's the opposition spokesman on finance. Julian has confirmed that he is dual citizen. He confirmed that he was born in the UK before migrating to Jamaica. So let me start with Mr. Fisher now,
So here is my honest view on this again. I take counsel from the Honorable Percival James Pattison. And I'll say, just like Mr. Pattison said, that if anybody and I'm very general now. Anybody want to serve Jamaica in certain capacity, then they should be willing or should not swear allegiance to no other foreign power, whether it's be Commonwealth or otherwise. Even though under our present system that a Commonwealth person can legally do so. But I agree with Mr. Patterson and reasoning based on what I heard, that the persons who he wanted to appointed was not a minister, was not vying to become a minister of finance or for prime minister. It was just maybe an ambassador or whatever. But Mr. Patterson thought, rightfully so, that if you are going to be serving, you should be 100% loyal to this cause and stuff. And that's where I come down. And I myself, who has 2 passports, and I'll show that out there. When I travel to Jamaica, I travel on my Jamaican passport. And when I come here, I travel on the Mr. Biden's passport and stuff. But if I should decided that I want to serve in certain capacity in Jamaica, I would gladfully go to the US Embassy and tell them, thank you for considering me and stuff. But this time, my allegiance is solely to Jamaica. That's where I come down on that. So
Okay.
that said, I'm going to be a little political now. The PNP has to decide what they want. In terms of all these dual citizens situation, they were the architect behind it a couple years ago and stuff. Is it fighting them now? And let's deal with it. That's my point. Let's deal with it. And they need to figure that one out.
I want to say, Anthony, hold on there, Anthony.
Yes.
You talk about the allegiance and stuff, right? Like Julian was born in.
May I come in? Sorry.
Hold on, Mr. Speed. Hold on. Julian was born in England, and he gets that certificate, you know. I don't see where he swear, you know, allegiance.
Like where was Mr. Siago born?
Huh?
Where was Mr. Siago born?
Well, me say born at Boston, some say born pan sea. We never know if I boat in the pan or whatever be, but
I'm born at the Caribbean Sea.
Mr.
Jamaican waters.
I don't know. I just said
Mr. Moderator.
Go ahead, Mr. Speed.
Mr. Moderator, I don't think we need to defend any of them. Truth be told is that, and why I say this, our Jamaican Prime Minister, when Mr. P.J. Patterson was the Prime Minister of Jamaica, every time that he goes to Parliament to be sworn in, he has to swear to the same monarch. So I cannot see now why it is that is a big issue for Mr. Patterson himself. Needless to say, any other Prime Minister, any other citizen of Jamaica. Because you know that there is an instrument in the Jamaican Parliament known as the mace that comes straight to Jamaica through the monarchical system that we had before. And we still have that instrument in the Parliament. And it is such an important, in fact, essential instrument in Parliament that if that instrument is taken out of Parliament, stolen, damaged so that it can't be in Parliament, no Parliament can go on.
You're muted, Mr. Speed. You mute. You mute yourself somehow. Mr. Speed, you mute yourself.
Commonwealth citizens to be there. And the people are operating within the ambits of what the Constitution says. What is the issue that we are having? If, and I go further than that, if remittances right now are the net most prolific money earner for the Jamaican economy. It's even outweighing the net coming in from tourism, because many of the owners of these hotels and these castles and the things that are operational in Jamaica under the tourism banner, the profits are not staying in Jamaica. But when remittances go there, it go there. And if these people who live abroad, working abroad, the Jamaican people are accepting their monies, the politicians are taking monies from them to help finance campaigns, to influence outcomes so that they can stay in power, or they can win a constituency by constituency are talking, even division by division in local government. Why is it that you can take these people's money? But if the people of West Portland or East St. Mary or whatever you call it decide that we want this man because he's coming back home and he's a Jamaican by birth and he's coming back home and we want him to be our MP, even though he holds that dual citizenship, what is the problem that people are having? Because he may just very well serve to be a better MP than the one they had before who never left Jamaica.
Amen. Amen.
Okay.
Amen.
All right, before you come in, Xavier, Anthony, may I go back on your case? And I hear you say like it's the PNP start up this dual citizenship thing, you know? I don't know if it's a PNP or I would want to say a PNP member or a PNP MP that started. Because it started with Darrell Vaz against Abe Dabdoob. You see what I mean?
And what was the objective?
Hold on.
At that time
was Anthony.
Yes.
It was against Abe Dabdoob and another person named Manly Bowen. He brings it against Shahini Robinson. So I mean, it is individuals that bring these cases against them. People that lost to them. I mean, Abe Dabdoob lost to Darrell. Well, Abe Dabdoob lost to Darrell and then bring it, you know. Manly Bowen never did run, but Shahini beat somebody probably close to him and then bring up that case. So yes, sir.
Alan, you know where you have gone back? You have gone back to where we started the show, where we said that the PNP, when it is suitable for them, tend to separate the individual from the party. And that is the problem that I have. So which part,
but Anthony,
this
Abe Dabdoob
even against Darrell Vaz at the time.
Abe Dabdoob, Anthony, the same Abe Dabdoob. I brought another one. I think it's what's her name again? But she was up in the seat that this lady now has, Carencia, I think, right? Abe Dabdoob brought two of these MPs that he lost to the court.
But Colin, Abe Dabdoob was acting and advising the PNP at the time. Abe Dabdoob had the support of the PNP. If Abe Dabdoob was successful in his case against Darrell Vaz and the seat was turned over to him, the PNP would have been government. So we need to stop it. Why are we trying to, when it's suitable, we're trying to separate the individual from the party? Why? We need to stop it, man. We need to stop it.
Okay, where's Xavier gone? Xavier,
I'm here. I'm here, man. Hold on. All right. You know what? Mr. Fisher, what Mr. Fisher said before, that was my original support initially some years ago, even maybe up to a year ago. But having looked at the history of the people with dual citizenship across this country, both in and out of politics, I think all of this dual citizenship thing is just tokenism. One word we can use it is tokenism. And here is why. A man can give up. A man can have citizenship for 3, 4, 5 different countries and still be extremely loyal to Jamaica and would do everything because in him heart, him a total Jamaican, regardless of how many different passports he has. Because the only reason why most people with a foreign passport, most Jamaicans with a foreign passport, the only reason why they have it is for ease of travel. It's for ease of travel and nothing more. Simply ease of travel. All right. And I'm going to give some examples. I'm going to give some examples of why I say it is tokenism. When Omar Davis, as far as I'm concerned, Omar Davis was not a dual citizen. He's a born and bred Jamaican and have dual citizenship. And I'm assuming this because he could have had a citizenship where we don't know about. But for all practical purposes, as far as we know, he's a Jamaican fully. This Omar Davis hired a foreign company, a company in Florida, to make uniforms for the entire Bank of Jamaica. When he was asked why, Omar Davis said, because there is no Jamaican, there's nobody in Jamaica who can make them of the quality and can deliver on time in this country. This was Minister of Finance. Now, there is this other man, right? His name is oh God, what the head of the former head of Scotiabank, who is now in charge of this ministry of oh God, can't remember that minister the name. That boy there. Hill. Go up the door. I don't have no key. Go up the door. I don't have no key. Go on. Glad you come. Go on. Me up on alive. Yeah. Now, when Arbin Hill took over Scotiabank and became the head of Scotiabank, when he heard that all of Scotia staff island-wide...
NCB.
NCB, was affiliated with NCB. You know? NCB. Right. What I did? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what the first thing he did? He said, why is our uniform made overseas? And them said, because them couldn't find nobody to do it out here. He said, all right, no. He called in the head of the Jamaica Manufacturers Association. And he said, listen, find me a company that you think is best suitable for making this uniform in Jamaica and bring them to me at a meeting at X time. And when they came to the meeting, he said, listen, look, you think you could do this job? The head of that company said, well, I think I could be able to, but here is what. I'm going to need some more equipment. And if I could get those equipment and I could get a bigger shop space and employ more staff, yes, I could meet the quality, I could meet the time scale you have set, and I could do everything. I just need those. Arbin Hill then said, listen, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a loan with an extremely low interest, next to none. And I'm going to give you an advance, right? And I wanted to find shop floor, get more shop space, get enough money. I'm giving you enough money to go get all the equipment you need. I'm going to give you an 8-year contract to ensure that you'll be paying back the loan and make money on top of it. And I am going to see that you can make Jamaican uniforms out here. And from that till this blessed day, Jamaican uniforms are made out here. But here is the clincher. Arbin Hill, wife is a Canadian. And him have both an American and a Canadian passport apart from a Jamaican passport. And he was willing with 3 dual nationalities. Him plant him seed there so, and him live there so, and him help this country. And he put everything to ensure him with him have 2 other allegiances and make sure it's enough for America. And Omar Davis, all him could have said, who do not keep lad with that so a foreign me do this. It had nothing. That's why I say tokenism. This dual citizenship is tokenism. PJ Patterson, let's talk PJ Patterson. No, let me know him got him. Let me go to Edward Seaga for a minute. He pledged allegiance to Jamaica and gave up his full American citizenship. Remember, it was Edward Seaga who, in collusion with the Central Intelligence Agency, who brought this country to its knees in the 70s and make female sanitary pads and bully beef married. And he did that to this country in cahoots with the Central Intelligence Agency. And I'll not forget that. Build. I never want to go in a field here. But the point I'm making is, let's look at Julian. You see, Julian Crawford, Julian Robinson. Let me tell you something. That man there from him a baby. I don't know how when him come here, but he has always been in Jamaican politics and he has always been in this country. And if that guy didn't love Jamaica and total loyalty to Jamaica, there is no way he would have been here. Because with his education, he could have had a better life overseas. He could have had a 10 times much better life overseas with what he has.
Yeah, break. You're muted. You're muted. I don't know who mute you or how you mute yourself. You know.
I don't know
Just, go ahead.
because I am hearing a lot of speculations and so on. I tend to lean towards dealing with what is factual, what is in front of me. You know what I know? Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is Vice President of the United States of America.
Yeah, man.
Kamala Harris.
No, I continue now. Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Him drop off. Quickly, go ahead, Mr. Speed.
All right. So Kamala Harris is Vice President of the United States. Kamala Harris is about, what would I call it, triple citizen then, you know? She not do all that, you know? Because Kamala Harris's father is Jamaican. Kamala Harris's mother is Indian, from India. And she has American citizenship. But she is Vice President of the United States. Then what say little Jamaica?
Mr. Speed. Let me stop you right here, so.
No, you can't stop me, not finish.
All
When
right.
me finish it off.
Keep going, Anton. Keep going.
When me finish it off. But so this is a country that Jamaica looks up to, you know, the United States, you know. The powerful United States. People head over heels wanting to come to the United States. But the United States has a Jamaican, and she can't give up that, you know, because no matter how she tries, she's still a Jamaican, you know. She can't give up the Indian citizenship either because her mother is from there, so that's natural. And she's a citizen of the United States. And the American people are as patriotic as they are. And they're probably more patriotic than Jamaicans, you know, because when I go to Jamaica, I don't see so much flags, Jamaican flags anywhere. You know? So I don't know where the hypocrisy is coming from. These people need to allow the people to do whatever they want and be a citizen of any country that they want. We have people in parliament who it is on the street, words on the streets that people even know in parliament from Israel. Israel citizenship. I believe wherever they want to be citizens of, if they decide to come back and settle in Jamaica and decide to run the affairs of a constituency and even ministry, they should be allowed to do so, because you don't want to stifle the rights of the people. The people decide who they want to lead them, and that should prevail. Did you know that you can't fire, you can't take out an MP once the people vote for that MP? You can ask them to resign, but they no must resign. The people power, that is what we need to look at in Jamaica, and allow the people to choose who they want regardless of. And the truth is, Anthony, before you come in, the truth is the PNP, Abe Dabdu, whomever at the time, they had all right to challenge it in court, because the people were operating against the law of the land, the constitution. They were operating against the constitution. No, Mark Golding and whoever else, they have the British citizenship. They are still operating within the laws, because the constitution said they can be. Julian Robinson is operating within the laws. He's not breaking the law. So what's the issue people are having? I don't know. You can come in now, you're free.
All right, thank you, Mr. Speed. But I'm going to start on this thing. Mr. Speed, come back on, man, because I'm addressing you directly first before I make my point. Don't forget this part of you, and this is where my respect comes for you, your contribution to education. So as we discuss these points, you also have a responsibility to educate the youngsters that are watching and stuff. When you said that the Vice President of the United States is a Jamaican citizen and an Indian citizen, that is incorrect. She is not. If she was a Jamaican or Indian citizen, she could not be the Vice President of the United States. The United States Constitution does not allow that. So please, that is very, very misleading. Yes, she had Jamaican parentage. Yes, she have Indian parentage, but she is 100% sole allegiance to the United States of America and no other foreign power. Zero. Or else she could not be the Vice President. So that was very misleading, and I think you need to withdraw that statement. Frankly so.
Let me come back. You want me to withdraw it?
Yes.
You want me to withdraw? You really, really want me to withdraw it?
Yeah, I do. Because you have a responsibility to the youngsters that are watching.
I am not withdrawing it. And you know why? Anybody who is born of a Jamaican parentage doesn't have to swear any allegiance to Jamaica. You know, have to swear if you're born as a British, from a British parent, you don't need to swear no allegiance to Britain. So whether she swear allegiance or not, she is considered a Jamaican.
Mr. Speed, can you prove that Kamala Harris has a Jamaican passport?
Whether she have passport or no passport, she is a Jamaican. Her parent is a Jamaican. So even when she swears allegiance to the American legislature, she is still considered a Jamaican because by parentage.
Mr. Speed, come on, Mr. Speed. You're an educator, man. Do better than that. Do better than that. This is what, when you take your student and tell them and teaching them politics and tell them what you just said a while ago.
Anthony, it is easy for you to say I am an educator. I don't know you are what. And I don't care you are what.
Yeah.
So I'm not going there.
I can tell you what I am. I can tell you what I am.
No, but I am not going down that road. I'm not going into the gutters to bring out people and to
No,
try to
Gottas.
sink a man.
No.
You're trying to sink a man to bring up your point. I'm not doing that. What I am
Mr.
doing,
Speed,
no.
I am not in any gutters.
What? No.
I just want you to be honest in your comments.
Exactly what. That's exactly that strategy is an age-old strategy to try to bring down a man from where he is and his position to say, oh, you are such and such. You are the prime minister, so you're saying. Don't go that road with me. If you want to say Mr. Speed, or say Mr. Speed, because I am on the program as Mr. Speed. So you're talking to me, don't come with it, oh, you are educated and you are this. I don't know you are what. So it's not fair to me because I could say, well, you are a
Speed.
But I am telling you, I am saying again to you that you cannot change the fact that she is of Jamaican parents. You can't change.
So,
and she could, and because of that, she could have even more loyalty to Jamaica than America, even though she swear allegiance to America within her own self. You know?
Thanks, Mr. Speed. Thanks, Mr. Speed. But through you, Mr. Moderator, I think I have a responsibility to the viewers who are watching the program. And what Mr. Speed said about the Vice President of the United States being a citizen of Jamaica and India is incorrect. Her parents is from, her father is Jamaican, her mother is Indian, but Miss Harris, our Vice President, is a citizen of the United States solely, swear allegiance to the United States only, and based on the United States Constitution, that's the only way she could become Vice President of this beautiful country called the United States of America. So that statement is misleading, and the facts is there. You can research for yourself. Nobody.
Did she renounce? Nobody. Did she renounce? Did she renounce her Jamaican citizenship?
She cannot. If she has a Jamaican passport, she would have to renounce it. She did at no point in time, whether through her parents or whatever, had a passport from any of the other country, or she would have to. If she had it, then she would have to give it up in order to.
So you don't know if she had
Vice President.
You don't know that. So you
remember when President Obama was president, he was accused of being a Kenyan, and that was dealt with also. So that
me asking you a simple question, you know. Did she renounce her Jamaican citizenship?
She renounced
her father. She renounced her father, allegiance to her father.
Wait. Okay, she can't deny her father. What Mark Golding did, Mark Golding would have gotten his UK citizenship through his father. But Mark Golding becoming an adult, and the same thing for Julian Robinson, would have renewed those passports. And
you don't know that.
Well, listen. The point is that you're trying to defend the undefendable right about now. And guess what? And I will stick to this. If you want to become prime minister, if you want to become minister of finance or whatever, you need to decide what you want to do. As I said in my opening, that at this point in time in our law, being a Commonwealth and being a member of the Commonwealth, they are not breaking any law. However, morally, if you want to lead, you cannot have, you can't have 1 foot here and 1 foot over there. So that no work.
So what is immoral? What is moral?
Oh, you know what? Because if something happened tomorrow morning, let me answer. If something happened tomorrow morning, okay, I can pack my bag and move over to the UK because I'm a UK citizen also.
No, but people have been packing their bags and going elsewhere without being citizens. So what is that issue? There's no that argument no hold no waters. Because people have been moving whether they are
okay, all right, listen now. I think I know both of you views on this anyway, you know, but I'm going to ask, you know, because from Assistant Commissioner of Police, Mark Shields, said that this uproar about dual citizenship is BS, and we should be putting our energy on more productive things. Do you agree?
Fully agree.
Agree with Mr. Shield? I
Fully
don't.
agree.
I don't. Respectfully, I don't. As a matter of fact, Mr. Shield need to pack his bag and go back to where he come from. Simply put, members of the JCF what they think about Mr. Shield's comment, and they will tell you.
You can't speak for JCF. You have to allow people to speak for themselves.
You heard
Listen.
what I said? I didn't speak for them. I said you should ask them. I
Yeah,
didn't speak for them.
But you are suggesting, in that comment, you are suggesting that they will say something.
I am suggesting that they will
that
have
line up with what, something that line up with what you are thinking.
No,
that's
you are assuming now. You are assuming,
no,
right?
No, it's a, you know what that is called? Reasoning at the inferential level.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well,
that is higher level reasoning.
But the point is that, listen, I stood back, I am standing my grounds on the point that you cannot, half of you can be as a half of you did so.
That's
this
a
time
nonsense.
you want. Make up your mind.
That's a nonsense. That's, for me, Mr. Moderator, that's a nonsensical argument.
Listen.
Many.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I want. It's much to do about nothing. It's about providing distractions for the inefficiencies of the government, the weaknesses in government, the poor managerial skills that are being displayed by each and almost every one of the ministers in government. It is out there to serve as distraction, just like the other case where with the circle or the triangle between the prime minister and his wife and another girl in the place. All of these things are coming as distractions when we should be concentrating our efforts into making sure that dialysis machines, X-ray machines, beds are in hospitals, the children at school have desks and chairs to sit on, books to read from, the property, the school properties are well taken care of, assessed by the ministry, and the needs met, and all of these things, instead of doing these things and spending our time to see how much we can put internet connectivity, Wi-Fi connection across the island so that schools can benefit and children at school. These are some of the critical, you see, education, health, and national security. Those three things we should be spending all of the time in the House of Representatives to deal with and stop going along with these side issues.
And all of those stuff that you just laid out is being dealt with, and it's been dealt with effectively. Where? Minister Vaz is in which country?
In which country? In America.
Jamaica. Jamaica.
You know, Anthony, Minister Vaz is not in health, security, nor education. He's none of those ministers.
And you mentioned Vaz now, and I'm not talking about Vaz.
You read the Vaz. I mean,
but he's the Minister of Technology. He spoke about internet.
Yes. How many schools have internet connectivity that can carry more than 10 people?
A lot.
That can carry more than 10 people at a time.
A lot.
How many schools in Jamaica have more them in there that can carry more than 10 or 15 people at a time? You don't know these things, so listen. Many where?
Many.
Almost none.
Many.
As soon as you want it slow down. As soon as more than 10 people, 20 people go on that, it slow down to nothing. You can't get no connection again. But who you telling? You can't tell me. Tell anybody else. Fool some other people. You can't fool me about that. These are some of the issues. People are going to hospitals and bed.
Many of your colleagues see it different from you. So how? So they are fools.
Talk about what you know, because many of these colleagues are seeing through orange or green, you know. And
likewise you.
No, I'm seeing through All right. So when I ask for connectivity for a school, I'm seeing to orange or green. You crazy or what? It's only PNP people, children when watch, when have connection. When I speak about textbook for kids, I am speaking orange or green. When I speak, it's only PNP or GLP children.
Tell me one school where I think that the government has improved with internet connectivity.
You need to tell me because there's nothing.
No, I don't work in the schools. I am not close to the education system.
I am telling you, and you're telling me about other people in the system.
Yeah, so why should I take your words and not take theirs?
But you, whose words?
To say what? Persons in the education system who are the opposite view to yours.
Who say what? What they say?
That says that the internet has improved.
But who says it's not improved? I'm saying we should be looking to improve. There's nothing that is 100% perfect, boss man. So even if it has improved, we are saying spend the time, the valuable time that we have in Parliament for discussions and so on, to deal with improving those things. Right now, we are not at 30% connection across the island for the schools. And you're talking about things that modems could be put in to boost that. And they're not discussing these things. When the boy got killed, and let me touch vast transportation ministry now. When the boy, the children got killed on the main road coming from Titchfield recently, from up there in Portland. When they got killed, the argument came up about school bus. You hear vast talk anything more about that?
I can't say yes or no to that. I'm not following. I don't get up every day and listen to the news.
These are the things they must spend the time to discuss. If it is even put in a little pilot project for school bus system, you don't have to do it all at once because we understand the restraints, resource restraints. But when the boys got killed, and we know that is a reckless taximan driving and that kind of thing, the arguments came up about, boy, you know, we should put in a little school bus. School is kind of going out now. Now it would be a very good time for you to pilot it because the children in the upper school, in high schools, for example, they only go to school now when it's exam day. So you would have fewer children now commuting. So you could try that pilot project now and see how it works and make adjustments to accommodate more when September comes for the new school year. Those discussions are not being held. They are talking about who is dual citizen now, who is this and who is that, and which girl I keep the prime minister and all this kind of nonsense. It's much to do about nothing.
Okay.
The two situation that you compare, that you make a while ago is not comparable. But Colin, I am sending you a video right now. I send you a video to your phone. Mr. Speed, yes. I just came back from Mexico. I was in a place called Oaxaca City. And I don't know if Colin have the capacity to share the video what I'm sending. But when I got there, exam was supposed to be going on and the teachers were on strike. When I got there, they were 2 weeks into the strike.
For what?
Huh?
What are they striking for?
For better wages, for a lot of things that we talk about, internet and stuff and all of that. They were 2 weeks into the strike. They left their houses. This was how bad it is. They left their home and they set up encampment in the main tourist area and stuff, where they were sleeping. I spent 2 weeks there, and when I got there, they were there. And when I left, they were still there. Because of the government was not meeting them in terms of meeting their demands and stuff. I say all of that to say, and I don't remember if you heard earlier in my statement that one of my, I could have said my hero. I mean, that's the father that I know. He's retired now. He was an all-age school principal that time. He moved on to become a high school principal. I don't know if you ever heard the name Alton Ruddock from down in Westmoreland.
I hear the Ruddock name.
He was the former principal for Grangeville High School.
You know Marcia Ruddock? Ruddock used to teach on it.
Yeah, for going to high school. But he is the person responsible for who I am today and stuff. But I'm saying all of that all over the world, not only Jamaica, there's a problem when it comes on to funding education. And I agree with you that a lot more could be done. But that said, Mr. Speed, we cannot push other issues aside and the dual citizen issues is not a distraction.
It's not
man.
a
distraction. If you want to serve your country, serve it fully.
We need to no, that listen, there's no you don't have any evidence to support the argument that you're putting forward. You don't have any evidence to support. Hold on, let me finish. You don't have any evidence. Nobody has any evidence to support the point that you can't serve
2 months.
Hold on, wait. There's no evidence, no scientific evidence to support the notion that you cannot be a dual citizen and serve a constituency or a ministry in Jamaica excellently. There's none. You cannot win.
You can't. Even the Bible, the good book, say you can't serve 2 masters. You have to choose one.
And the person who would be coming back to be elected would be choosing to come back to be elected to serve the one in Jamaica.
Yes, and but at the time, but if something should happen, guess what? Them jump on an airplane and them go about them business. And who is that?
That is an assumption.
Who is that a disadvantage? Jamaica.
That is an assumption that somebody would do that. You have no evidence to prove that either.
It's a possibility, though.
Everything is a possibility.
Thank you.
Most things are possibilities. So even if you look how many MPs, the people are balling in Jamaica, born and grown in Jamaica, don't have no citizenship nowhere else. Look how many MPs. Well, I know. You know what them say MP mean in many of the constituency? Missing person. And those people now have no dual citizenship.
Yeah, and you have missing person on both sides of the aisle.
Them no have no dual citizenship and them missing. And then live out there and then some of them never fly on a plane yet. And them born out there, they never leave out there, and them are missing persons still out there. So what's the evidence to say that somebody?
Let me ask you a question. If you love Jamaica so much and you want to serve you want to be the Prime Minister of Jamaica and stuff, why would it be so difficult for you to give up your citizenship to another foreign power?
Who says it's difficult? Who determines difficulty?
Well, why not give it up then?
No, but if the person is living within the laws of the land and operating within the laws of the land, what more you want with Andrew Holness is not operating within the laws of the land?
What evidence do you have to prove that?
By not submitting his statutory returns
again,
for 3 years.
Again, you are wrong. The Integrity Commission said that the Prime Minister did not submit his statutory return
for 3 years. Yes.
They say that he has not submitted it, or they have not approved it. Which one?
The Prime Minister agrees with that. The fact is, if it cannot be approved, what that means?
No.
Inferential thinking, no. Reasoning.
No, listen.
If it cannot be approved, your Prime Minister cannot be approved. What that tells you? By the Integrity Commission. The Integrity Commission
need to come and talk. The Integrity Commission can use the Parliament to tell us why they have not approved it. They need to do that.
And in the meantime, what happens?
Mr. Speed, if I ask you for certain documents and you provide the documents to me, and you provide the documents to me, and you are waiting on my feedback now to you. Is it something wrong with what you prove, what you have given me? Why you have not gotten a feedback from me? You are in a position that if I need more, I supposed to ask. Until I ask some more or whatever, then you have to wait until I give you a response. If I don't give you a response, what can you do?
Did the Integrity Commission tell Jamaica that Andrew Holness submitted all that he was supposed to submit?
Did they say that he have not submitted all that he was supposed to submit?
No. A question cannot answer my question. I'm asking you that.
They have not said that. They have not said it
yes or no,
one way or another.
That's a yes or no.
No, it's not a yes or no, because they have not said they have not said he has not submitted all one. They have not said one way or another. They have not.
Anthony, I'm asking you a question again. Did the Integrity Commission tell you or Jamaica that the Prime Minister submitted all the documents they needed?
No.
Right. So
did the Integrity Commission say that they are waiting for more documents for the Prime Minister?
No, but everybody else who submitted their thing came through and they were approved or not approved, right?
The Integrity Commission, who has been paid from the coffers of taxpayer, need to come out and use the Parliament that they are allowed to speak to and say what is the issue. That's what needs to happen.
So, Anthony, the Prime Minister is satisfied that after 3 years, the Integrity Commission is still holding on to that and not. And people are bombarding him every day to say, you're not submitting and whatever. And
the Prime Minister is on record saying that, listen, this is the process that we have established as a country. And he cannot do nothing until the Integrity Commission do what they have to do. What he must do? Go and bully them, and then you guys see one come and say, oh, the Prime Minister is bullying.
But he has always bullied. But he has always bullied in a lot of instances. Why not in this instance? To clear himself.
Well,
he has put gag order on people. He has put gag order on people and so on and so forth and so forth. So why not now clear himself by bullying them? Why not?
Any gag order on the Integrity Commission to come to Parliament and to say why they have not moved this?
I don't know. He didn't say that publicly. He didn't say that publicly, but I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
You talk about distraction. There goes one more.
I am not into the distractions. I want them to cut away this foolishness and make sure that the Prime Minister is ethically upright.
So guess what? As Jamaican,
I'm not sure now. I'm not sure.
As Jamaican, put the green and orange aside. As Jamaican, we need to call upon the Integrity Commission.
Brown shirt on here, sir.
Yes.
Brown shirt now, man. You have on green.
You have a Jamaican T-shirt. With the big Jamaican print from the chest. See?
Hold on, Anthony. We know me out something.
My heart is always with Jamaica. Anywhere I go, that's where me is. Jamaica.
We don't. We hear you say.
Anthony.
Yes, sir.
Anthony and Mr. Speed. Let me just hear the 200 views because I want to leave here. Because it depends how long and everything, you know. So listen, given that the laws allow for Commonwealth citizens to sit in our Parliament, why is the JLP seem so hung up on this video? And should the Constitution then be amended so that only persons with Jamaican citizenship is allowed to sit in Parliament? That's what
I agree with the latter part of your statement. Yes, that should be the situation. If you want to serve in the Parliament of Jamaica, you should have no other allegiance. The Constitution needs to be changed to reflect that and stuff. Right now, we are saying that we are moving away from the monarchy and whatever and all of that, and this part of it should also be dealt with. You cannot sit in the Parliament of Jamaica and swear allegiance to another foreign power. That should be finalized.
And the Prime Minister of Jamaica is still swearing allegiance to that he will have to tell, give information to the king.
Because every judge have to swear.
Hold on, the Prime Minister. has to swear it right now.
I mean, King's Council advisor.
And every time I go to the court or whatever, I hear them saying, oh yeah, God save the queen. They used to say the queen, now they're saying the king. Then what kind of hypocrisy will come in?
Because at this present time in our history, we still acknowledge that part of our history as having our head of state. So that means, so if we are moving away from the monarchy, and I said that the constitution needs to amend it to make sure that nobody at all can sit in the Parliament of Jamaica.
Mr. Myrie,
Yeah.
Before Anthony goes, if Mr. Warmington or Mr. Vaz pick up that maize and run out of God knows with it, you know that no other business can be legally transacted.
Repeat that, Mr. Speed. Repeat that.
If Mr. Warmington or Mr. Vaz picks up the maize, the monarchical instrument called the maize, and take it out of Parliament and run out the door with it, no other business can be conducted in there legally for that sitting off a stop. And the maize is monarchical. It's about the British rule. That is what the maize, that's a symbol for them, representative of them, And we have that in our Parliament still, but we're fussing about who is dual citizen and who have British citizenship, even though the Constitution allows for it. So if the Constitution allows for the maize to be this symbol of authority in the Parliament, and the maize is connected to the British.
We are under the British monarchy still.
Why is it that you have a problem with the people with the British system too? It's hypocritical. And Mr. Shields is right, he's perfectly right. It's much to do about nothing. And they need to go and find other things to talk about and deal with to help the people, the children of Jamaica and the people of Jamaica.
Would Mr. Shields give up his British citizenship?
He don't have to. He have Jamaican now and married.
Oh.
Okay, and as we'll wrap up now anyway, but Anthony, I hear you earlier said that you have 2 passports and you use one when you go at Jamaica and stuff,
And I'm planning to run.
And
I'm planning to run for councillor down there.
No, I'm not running for now because I'm not think so. But I'm just asking still, I'm not asking about here anyway, when you go down, you say you use it for easy access and stuff like that. Do you get your US passport stamp or just the Jamaican stamp when you go down?
When I go down, they only stamp my Jamaican passport. They can't stamp both.
So you stamp for Jamaican passport?
Yes.
I don't think that's good anyway, but when I go down with my 2 passports.
Are you stamp both?
No. I because the lines are always long, the US line and stuff. I go up to the Jamaican line with my Jamaican passport. But when I reach there, I show them both and say, listen, I want my US passport stamp. I'm not supposed to do it still, but them do it because I've been waiting on a long line there.
All right.
Listen now. I understand that if you, I don't know how true it is, this is what I was told. If you go to any country, like say, I'm going to use Jamaica. So you go to Jamaica now with a Jamaican passport and you stamp the Jamaican passport and you go down there. You go in the country as a Jamaican. So if anything should happen to you, you were not as a Jamaican, you're going as a Jamaican, so you're never going as a US citizen. So therefore, them can't take you out of the country if you want to leave, if you're sick or stuff like that, because you never admit in the country. I don't know how true that is, but that's what I was told.
Okay.
That's the situation. So when you go down there, any country you're going, get your stamp.
Whenever I go to Jamaica, I go as a Jamaican. I proudly go as a Jamaican.
All right.
The moment that the plane touched down in Montego Bay, I mean, I felt I always, well, not even before touchdown, just looking down and that beautiful strip when the plane going down, that whole pride and joy of being able to be born in such a beautiful country always resonate with me.
But Anthony, you know you don't have on the Jamaican colors right now. It's yellow that for the shirt, you know. Yellow that, you know.
I'm not going to disagree with you, sir.
Anyway, okay.
We're just messing with you though.
We're good at that, man. We're good. It's good to be able to talk, you know. But one of my only thing is that, and I'm saying this, and Colin, you know me very well, that at this point in time in history, this present time, I see the Jamaica Labour Party as the better of the two in terms of what to offer.
Royal Reid said that the other day too, you know. Royal Reid said that.
If you want us to have a conversation where Mr. Reid is concerned, we can have that.
Go ahead with it, because I was gonna touch on Irie clock issues and you know he's coming out. But since you bring it up, what's your thoughts on it?
I didn't hear what Royal Reid said, so I can't. I what context he said it, so I cannot make a comment on something that I've not heard.
He was at a, let me tell you, he was at a conference, East Rural St. Andrew, I think, conference, sitting at the front seat, and they interviewed him right there and then. Last week.
Well, I didn't see that interview or anything, so I cannot comment on it.
He was loud and proud. That's all I want to mention.
I'm gonna try and find it, Anthony.
He was loud and proud. And
yeah, but Mr. I say this, that Royal Reid, as a citizen of Jamaica, has a right to decide, has a right to his opinion. So if he thinks, just like I think, that the Jamaica Labour Party is the better of the two at this present moment, if Mr. Reid feels that way also, then he has a right to that.
Yeah, he actually said it is the best of the two. So I don't know if you can have best of the two. But that is what Royal said.
Which teacher's college did he went to?
Royal?
Yes.
I think Bethlehem are one of them down the country.
Which one did you go to?
The great Michael.
Okay, so again,
I'm just saying, you know.
If you're going to criticize Mr. Reid and that, it speaks to the education system.
No,
Anthony, I'm not criticizing you. I'm just saying you asked me because you say you weren't there, you didn't hear it. I'm just saying what you said.
No,
but you are
the best of the two. So I mean,
he said the best of the two.
Yes. So, I guess your questioning is English.
No, I'm just saying what he said. You are the one. You are criticizing him now. Oh, mercy.
Well, I'm trying to find it. I find it. I don't know if I can put it here and share it, you know.
He said the best. And but I'm just telling you what he said, you know.
All right.
No, Anthony, what's your thoughts on the...
I take your word for it.
Let me hear both of your thoughts on Mr. Golden suing Irie Clark for defamation. You know?
Well,
again, Colin, I have heard very little about that. I heard that Mr. Clark allegedly made some comment in a WhatsApp group that Mr. Golden thinks that was defamatory to him and stuff. I have not seen the comment that Mr. Clark made. And so because of that, I am not in a position to say whatever the case is. But if Mr. Golden feel aggrieved, then the court is there for him to seek justice. And just like everybody else, he has that right to seek justice and to let the court decide. So that would be my comment on that.
I agree with you on that one, Anthony. There are no two ways about that. If Mr. Golden has enough in his armory to want to challenge what Mr. Irie Clark said, and the avenue he wants to take is through the court system, where we can at least assume that there's fairness in the court system, right? Then he has his right to do that. And when matters become when matters land themselves up in the court system, I can't say much more about them, right? So I will leave it at that, and I hope that justice will prevail on either side.
Right.
Okay, all right. I can reach that video for somehow I can't find it.
What, Mr. The comment that Mr. Clark made?
No, not Mr. Clark. Not Irie. Oh, let me see if I can find it. Ruel, I may be able to play it.
Whenever you find it, just WhatsApp it to me, Colin.
Me can WhatsApp it, but me want to play it anyway,
Well, to me, he didn't say anything untoward. Nothing that you wouldn't expect him to say, really. So
Because Colin, words have it out there, that before Mr. Reed's demise, he had intention to bring on Mr. Speed as one of his advisors as soon as he had retired, but that didn't work out. So
that's only your word, man. Sorry, no better than that. We had confrontations with the Pep, and I told him, and he said, "Boy, we reached too far down the wicket. We can't turn back, Mr. Speed." We had arguments, man. Because we just weren't ready for the Pep at all. But we didn't have any books on the market. Nothing was ready. The teachers never had any training about how to teach for those kinds of questioning and the performance task and all of that. But I'm not going back into that.
You know what I would want to see? Let me tell you what I would want to see. And I know persons are going to say that we're a third world country and whatever and all those stuff. But you know what I would want to see where education is concerned is that for every student have access to required texts that they are used. Like here, my daughter came here from when she was in no,
the Jamaican people haven't seen a lot of you recently. They haven't heard a lot from you. I'm sure they'd like to hear from you.
And I've never bought a textbook. She gets everything on her tablet.
Yeah, man.
And stuff. And that is what I would love to see the Jamaican education system reach to that part where every single student have an equal opportunity to be successful.
Anthony, when they do the end of grade test in America, by the next day, who pass and who fail.
Exactly.
No paper pack up to go mark and breach of paper, test paper breach and all of that, because it open. The test is open at the morning of the test. It open, the day of the test. So you can't. Yeah.
So those are things that I would see, and again, if we are to get there, let me tell you, there are 3 areas that I think that we need to try our best and remove politics from: education, national security, and health. Those 3 areas we should, as best as possible, just be united and stuff. So when Damian Crawford come out and talk and say something about 1% GCT and stuff, it got shut down because of politics. And, because the JLP, no new taxes is their mantra, it's going to get shut down and stuff. So nobody give any credence to the argument itself because of politics and stuff. You understand what I'm saying? Do I support it? I don't know. Do I not support it? I don't know, because we would have to have a discussion to go into the details of the argument and stuff. Earlier in the program, Colin talked about the education tax. Where that goes? That goes into the consolidated fund. It's not that the money that is collected for education tax is put aside and spent solely on education. It's not. You understand what I'm saying? So these are the little things that I think that not little things are big things. Where the politics need to be taken out of if we want to see a better Jamaica. Because if we have a more educated population, just imagine a lot of, you speak to a lot of persons and then I think can hold a conversation. A man step on a man's shoes and a man a back knife off of him. When you could have easily brush off your shoes and gone and whatever and all of them. So it starts from down there. We need to improve our early childhood system, because that's where it started, and come up. The teachers, Mr. Speed, and you might not agree with me for now one year. The teachers of today is not the teachers of couple years ago who went into the system to teaching because of the love of the profession and put that level of dedication in there. Those are not the teachers of today. You have a few of them left.
But they would tell you that the teachers of those days were cruel because they would use the main tool that they used was the strap.
I got some. I was having a conversation. As a matter of fact, I just wrote a paper. on that and whether or not it was good or bad. Listen, I did common entrance. Let me give you a little story. I did common entrance. And in my common entrance class, at the time, it was 17 of us. I remember that as if it was today. 14 girls and 3 boys. And the principal at the time, he was the person who was teaching the class. And he had 3 sticks in the class. 3 sticks. And you know who the 3 sticks was for? The 3 boys. We named it right on the 3 piece of stick. and stuff. Luckily, none of us got beaten from the 3 piece of stick. But just knowing the possibility was a motivation. Was it the best thing? Maybe not. But guess what? It worked.
So what you say? Go back to it now.
I am not saying that.
What would you advise the government now in terms of that? Corporal punishment in schools.
All right, so Mr. Speed, let me tell you, because my parents used to beat me. All right, I have not beaten my child because I have come up with new ways for punishment. You understand what I'm saying? Which I think is just as effective or even more effective. So while I would not go back to that, I am saying that at that point in time, it worked.
Just driving it though,
You know the other thing about that, though, Mr. Speed? We as students could not disrespect a teacher, you know?
True.
But now, children, I watched a video, I think it was what a school upon Marcus Garvey Drive. Boy, jump over and come down and chuck teacher and something there.
School name on the program.
Yeah, no, I'm not calling any name, but telling you what happened. And Chuck teacher and stuff. I mean,
All right.
yeah. Anyhow, Colin,
Yeah.
I
Time.
think I need to go. I have another thing to take care of, so.
Okay, you guys, we have been watching and listening to the Irie Myrie and Friends show. We thank our guests and our valued audience. We know you have a choice, and we are glad you have chosen to join us. Until next week, when you hear my voice again, on behalf of Ralston, who is not here, you know, my co-host, this is Colin Irie Myrie saying goodbye, and you have yourself a great week. And happy Father's Day again. Blessings.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, man.
Welcome.